And this morning, Secretary of State John Kerry is making a surprise trip to the West Bank in his latest efforts to revive Mideast peace talks. Yesterday, Kerry visited with Syrian refugees at a camp just miles from the Syrian border.
America's top military officer says the tide has shifted in the Syrian civil war. The regime now has the upper hand. Margaret Brennan is at the State Department. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning to you, Charlie, and to Nora. Well, as that conflict threatens key U.S. allies, Secretary Kerry made a surprise visit to the Syrian border, making him the only senior member of the Obama administration to see the reality firsthand.
Secretary Kerry told aides that he wanted to see the Syrian crisis up close. He helicoptered into the massive Zaatari camp where around 115,000 refugees live along the Jordanian border. On the ground, a handful of angry refugees begged him to stop the violence in Syria.
I explained to them I don't think it's as cut and dry and simple as some of them look at it.
The Obama administration had promised to provide military support to the Syrian rebels a month ago. No weapons have arrived. In an interview with Charlie Rose after the decision to arm, President Obama still sounded reluctant.
Some of the most effective fighters within the opposition have been those who, frankly, are not particularly friendly towards the United States of America, and arming them willy-nilly is not a good recipe for meeting American interests over the long term.
Those reservations are shared by some on Capitol Hill. Others simply don't want to carry out the president's plan. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Martin Dempsey, has also voiced concern.
Is that your answer?
On Thursday, Senator McCain pressed him.
Do you believe the continued costs and risks of our inaction in Syria are now worse for our national security interests than the costs and risks associated with limited military action?
With all due respect, Senator, you're asking me to agree that we've been inactive, and we have not been inactive.
The Pentagon has proposed the use of force, actions the White House is reluctant to take. But General Dempsey said the rebels need military training, something the Pentagon is not providing. A high-level rebel commander will come here to the U.S. for meetings next week.
And Margaret, let me ask you about some of the news today about the Palestinians have refused to back Secretary Kerry's peace talks, efforts to do this. How big a setback is that?
Well, Nora, we have seen a great deal of shuttle diplomacy on the part of Secretary Kerry between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and the U.S. has been very reluctant to lay blame at the doorstep of either party. But we have seen some proposals for economic development to the Palestinians and some leverage being pushed there. We do know that Israel's coming under increased pressure, including from Europe, because of their settlements that they are developing, which encroaches on Palestinian land. So right now, we'll see if Secretary Kerry can get the parties back to the table. Doesn't look good at this point.